All right, hey everybody, welcome to this next episode of Archangel Odyssey. So before we jump into training and some conversation, I've asked members here to share in the chat some things they're grateful for or some wins. I'd love to hear from a couple of you. Amy, do you want to share?
As I'm looking for Lego piece. I think it's great. I'm really grateful that it's my son's on spring break, but he's able to join and listen and be exposed to this mindset stuff and this business stuff at such a young age. So I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. How about Geeta?
Oh, I am so grateful for this group. I am just so excited that I've made some superb progress on my love letter, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head, because I don't know if any of you know, in Winnipeg, anyway, we had a 71-year record snowfall.
Oh, man.
And I had water dripping into my bedroom for 3 days, and I was terrified my ceiling was going to fall in on me. So wow. I have an estimate. It's my fireplace chimney that's leaking, and it's going to be resolved within the week.
Awesome. Thank God you're good.
Yeah, thank you.
It's snowing. I know. I think it's going to snow here this week. I'm kind of, it's just like, we're done with snow. Can we please have some palm trees? How about Mike George?
Yeah, so Ronnie and I have been connecting weekly, actually, just before this call, just to kind of keep each other on track. And we just had a great conversation before this call, and I'm pumped. So
that's awesome. Kevin Scott.
Oh, hey, Jill. My wife just told me today she got promoted to a full professor at the hospital that she works at. So just super excited about that.
That is amazing. Congratulations. Okay, so before I jump into the training, this weekend, I have earmarked a whole bunch of time to be editing your love letters, critiquing them, giving feedback on them, as well as stuff that I'll be sharing today called your hand raiser. So if you can have drafts in the campus by Friday, I will be personally going in to make edits and giving feedback all weekend. So I want to help all of you get into momentum with that. So please, by Friday evening, or depending on where in the world you are, could be Saturday morning for you, but same kind of thing. And give me 10 seconds to set up. Okay, so today's one of my favorite sessions. It's called The Beacon. And we are going to talk about how to have potential dream clients raise their hand to express interest in working with you. So I'll start with strategies, assuming that you already have some kind of audience. And that's a funny word. I don't mean like 10 million people. I just mean that either you've worked with people in the past, or you have started to collect email addresses already, or you have some kind of social media following, which could be like 100 people kind of thing. 1,000's better, 10,000's even better, but you don't need the bigger numbers. It's more about having something. Some people don't have any of this. So if you don't have any of this, then I'll share strategies for like literally starting from scratch. The cool thing is, even if you have a bit of a following, you can still use these starting from scratch strategies to help launch your group. Now, this is, again, super important. It's not about having a giant audience. It's not about 10 million people following you on TikTok. For any of you that are on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or email or wherever it is. I actually want you to shift into thinking about building one-on-one relationships, one at a time relationships. It's not sexy like building a funnel, marketing funnel, or like building a giant email list. Those things are in the internet world very sexy. But to me, the sexy thing is actually building relationships, because that's the most important thing that counts. So Not that lead generation is bad, but just as a reframe for everybody to maybe stop thinking about lead generation and start thinking about relationship building. Everything I've done to get to where we are now with Archangel has been about relationships. I've done very little quote unquote advertising or marketing in the traditional sense. So if you're in Academy, you've probably seen me explain this opportunity ladder before. If not, what I like to teach is that advertising is the last thing you do. Facebook ads, Google ads, magazine, bulletin board, billboard, all those kinds of things are great if you have something that works really well and you can amplify it. If you're starting off, that's not a very good strategy. It's a very time consuming and time wasting and money wasting. The first thing always when you want to grow a business is to up level your value and your pricing. Right? So if you're already doing something, how can you add more value and increase the price? And you can literally scale without adding one client. The next thing I teach is to create an offer for your existing and past clients. The sort of secret magic of relationships is that if someone has already worked with you, they would want to work with you again because there's already relationship. You've already built intimacy. There's already trust. It is actually easier. I think the stat now is 6 times easier to work with someone who's already worked with you than try to find someone new. So if there's a way, so for example, if you have clients you've worked with, even if it's in a different field, even if you're starting, like I went from real estate to what I do now, 2 very distinct audiences. And yet I was able to leverage existing relationships in the real estate space to start and grow Archangel. The next thing would be to create an offer for your community. So if you do have a network or social media followers or an email list, those kinds of things, make an offer for them. The next would be to create an offer for other communities. I'm not going to go into this in Odyssey because we're going to cover the main stuff first, but it's something I call Super Connector. I did a whole training in Academy, which is essentially how to have other thought leaders, other entrepreneurs, other coaches, other practitioners introduce you to their clients. And it's done always as a gift from you to them. And then create an offer for dream client connections. So once you start working with people, one of the most effective things to do is be connected to future people just like them. It's like, we would consider it referrals, but done from a really strategic place. And then finally, advertise, but only amplify the things that work. If you ever see someone doing Facebook ads and they're doing it really well, it's because they've tried other things first. They figure out an offer that works, and then they create ads based on the offer that works. So I wanted to share that first before we get into today. The next sort of segment is what I call transformation story marketing. The concept of this is that it's one of the most simple and effective ways to enroll new clients. And the idea is to invite potential clients to become a success story. And I've said this many times, I'll say it again. The most important thing we're all going to do is create stories, is create transformation stories. As you are building out your groups, the easiest and best way to start your second group, and then your third group, and then your 10th group, and then your 100th group is to share the stories of people you've served, people who have had transformations with you, because they are excited to share the story too. And then part of this process is to paint the picture of what the before and after looks like. So you'll start to see how past modules tie into everything we're doing. And then what you can do is offer something valuable in exchange for the story, and then share the stories in the future to invite new clients to become success stories. So one of the things you'll, if you follow myself or my partner, Dr. Stephanie, we'll share a story, and then we may end it by saying, we would love for you to be our next story like this. And part of the intention is that when we read a story, any story, or watch a movie or read a book, we picture ourselves in the shoes of the main character. And if someone is transformed that you've helped already, sharing that story will attract other people like them. Now, the most important aspect of what I'm about to teach is to get a response. In other words, you want people to raise their hand. You're not actually, when you are communicating in any way, you're not selling your program. This is so important. Especially when you're starting off or launching a group, the only purpose of what I'm about to share, called the hand raiser, is literally to get someone to raise their hand. To basically say, I think you're talking about me. I want more info. Or let's start a relationship. Let's start figuring this out. Many entrepreneurs go straight to trying to sell their program or sell the solution. And that doesn't work very well, at least not as effective as this, especially for a service. It's a bit different for a product. If you can show a picture of a product, those kinds of things on Instagram work really well. If people want it, they see it right away. There's instant gratification. When it comes to a service, it's different. So this is an example of a hand raiser message. You've probably seen me do it a bunch of times if you've been following me for a while. The structure is, I'm looking for a very specific number, and usually a small number, like 3, 5, 7, a specific number of dream clients. So anything in color, you would change. Anything in white stays the same. So I'm looking for 5 47-year-old men who want, I'm just making this up, but who want a very specific outcome or a very specific problem solved in the next blank days. So in the next 90 days. And then the blue, the qualifier statements, is to be specific about who you're looking for or what they're looking for. So I'm specifically looking for men who their left arm is larger than their right arm. I'm just making up random things. But the idea is the more specific you get in these qualifier statements, the more the person reading it says, oh, this is for me. If that's you, now this says comment because you can use this on social media. If it's an email, you just say reply with the word, and then you come up with a word that you can track. The reason we like this code word thing, especially for us, and then for all of you as you grow, is that as you do more of this kind of messaging, it allows you to track your offers and track what you're saying. Otherwise, people will be responding, and you might be like, what are they responding for? You know, our team is a bit more sophisticated now, so we have probably 50 different offers happening over the past few years, where every offer has a different code word, so we can actually tag things and track it. And it also, you want to just relate, the code word could be anything, but just make it easy to spell, and try to relate it to whatever your thing is or what your offer is. But notice this entire message is all about them. And it's also the beginning of your love letter. Ta-da! So when you are writing your love letter, if you follow the sort of summary structure, you can literally take this messaging and make it the first paragraph of your love letter. And just get rid of the if that's you stuff. Right? So the idea is that this starts the sequence that will eventually get to the love letter. Once they read the love letter, they see this messaging again. So some examples. Here's one Stephanie sent out. So the subject line is literally the person's first name, because we've tested every possible subject line. And if you really want people to open an email, the subject line would be first name. So if you're using email software where you can customize these things, that is one of the best ways to have the email opened or to get attention, because people love their name. You can't use it a lot, but it's very effective. So hi, Aaron, I'm looking for 5 more motivated women who want to lose 15 to 20 pounds in the next 90 days. So I'm looking for a small number, who it's for, motivated women. And see, again, you don't have to be too specific with the who, as long as you're specific with the outcome or specific with the journey. So 5 more motivated women who want to lose 15 to 20 pounds in the next 90 days. You must be friendly, driven, coachable, and ready to take action. If that's you, reply with the word esteem in the subject line, and I'll send you more details. That is it. Either a mistake or misconception or error that I see all the time is that we think we have to have way more detail. You have to almost explain yourself or give way more, or start talking about your program or how you can help people. I promise that's actually it's counterproductive. This is the most important thing, because all you're saying is this you? Please reply yes if this is you. So you should be more detailed about them and not talk about you at all. You can use the same kind of messaging on social media, and it works. This is another one she did probably around near the beginning of the pandemic, where a lot of the challenges that were coming up or that she saw in her own world were people saying, I can't get sick. I can't afford to get sick. So for executives or busy women who ran companies or whatever it was. So this is the kind of messaging. I won't go through it because you'll get the slides later and you can read word for word if you like. Now, the important rules, again, it's all about them. You never, ever, ever mention your product, your program, your service, your thing. I know you want to, so please just trust me on this one. It's all about them. The call to action has to be clear and simple. You don't have to be cute or weird or different or complicated. Just if this sounds like you, reply with this word and I'll give you more details. If you have a team, you can say, or my team will send you more details. You want clarity around the dream client, but it doesn't have to be specific in the first sentence. It's more specific in the qualifiers. And again, it could be a match of who they are or what they want. So if you are a little bit less specific with the who, be way more specific with the what, like the outcome or the transformation or the journey that they want. And then a believable outcome based on the time frame, meaning don't say, I'm looking for 5 women who want to lose 150 pounds in the next 3 days, because that's not believable. And guess what? When I actually launched Archangel Odyssey for the first time, this is the exact email we sent. Chances are, if you're here now, you also may have seen an email like this for something we've ever done. So I'm looking for 5 more coaches, practitioners, doctors, or experts who want to launch or scale a transformational group online program in the next 30 days. And again, when you get the replay, you can see the slides for the details. This is a different version of it that I've sent after. So I have a spot in our Odyssey cohort. You can get all the details here. The group kicks off in a few days. Would you like to join us? So another version of it, but there's always a call to action, meaning you're always telling people the next step to take, and it's always a response, not to purchase something, to reply to the message. Same with this one. So this is one that Stephanie sent out. She sent it to me. That's why I don't want to confuse you, but hi, Giovanni. Starting next week, I'm leading a group of women on a transformational journey. Again, you can read this full thing later. So that's how the messaging works. It's all connected to everything we've been working up until so far, which is who you want to help, how you can help them, what the transformation is, what the time frame is, all the stuff in your blueprint, and you can start to see how everything's kind of connected. Now, what if you don't have past clients, or what if you have no emails or no social media following? The one thing I'm hoping you do have is connection to other people, even if it's a handful or a small number, or like most humans have a network of 150 people. Like if I asked each of you to list everybody you know, how big would that list be? And literally that's where you can, so if anyone is even starting a business, this is the same advice I would give. You probably undervalue the amazingness of your existing current network of people. Even if none of them are a dream client for you, someone who is a dream client knows them. Your dream clients are always 1 or 2 degrees of separation from you. So the question is, what do you do? And your mission, and again, now this is for actually all of you, but especially if you don't have any kind of following or any of that kind of stuff. Your mission is to build and nurture 100 relationships by gifting your time. And those 100 relationships are people who could be dream clients in the future. So how do we get to and connect with these 100 people? Part of what we can do today is share stories of what all of you have done, but I want to show you what what I've done that works. And to me, it's the simplest process, which is gifting your time. And I'll show you a few ways to do this. And once you start building relationships with these 100 people, the idea is inviting 10 of them to be your founding members, while over time deepening the relationship with the other 90. Not that you're going to work with all of them. You're probably not. You may never work with them. But the process of what I'm about to share will help you sharpen your craft, will help you get the info you need to attract the right people, and building relationships over time. So this is the gifted time strategy. The idea is that it will create amazing future lead attraction tools for you, and the opportunity to be connected to potential circle members. So circle is my word for your community that you're building. And you offer your time as a gift to build relationships. Part of this, by the way, it may seem super, maybe simple as a word. It's the most effective thing. When we launched our first Archangel Summit event in 2016, we had 1,500 attendees. And I had people ask, how did you do that? And I said, I invited 1,500 people. Now, not everyone I invited showed up, but people brought friends, right? So the idea was, over time, everything I kept doing was building relationships. If you ask me today, I probably know 5,000 people where I've had a conversation with each one of them in some way, whether it's on a Zoom call like this, or at an event, or through social media or something. And I'm the biggest introvert, by the way. That's not ever been a hindrance, especially if this is happening online. And when you are doing this gifted time strategy, the idea is to have conversations and literally ask them the dream, like the dream conversation. And you get practicing into asking those questions. So here's an example. We had a member in Archangel Academy. His name is Winston. Winston is, I believe, still in Vancouver. When we taught this strategy of gifting time, he said, awesome. He posted this image that he created on social media. And he said, I'm gifting $25,000 of my time for Project Connection, which is 100 hours for 100 people. And he said, I'm gifting 1 hour of my time, whoever wants it. We can talk about almost like a private conversation for support in any way, for wherever people needed help. And this was one of the best things he ever did for his business. As an example, another example is this one. This is an email I sent in 2019. Don't worry about reading it. It's probably really small for you. But what I said was, in the month of December, I'm giving away 10 one-on-one coaching sessions, and I'm calling it the $1 Million Map. And I had a whole process to take people through. There was zero expectation for anything. It was a complete gift. But in the process, I gained so much valuable wisdom, because I learned what people need, where they feel stuck, what their dreams are, and I could turn that wisdom into building relationships and deepening relationships. Many of the people I did this with actually became clients, because here's the most important thing. What do people need to say yes to you? They want to know that they like you. They want to know that they can trust you. They want to know that you can help them with their specific problems. They want relationship. It's way less complicated than most people make it. Now, this is a different version of gifting time. I call it the interview strategy. Because we're all messengers. So if you're coaching or a guide or someone leading a group program, I consider you a messenger. And by the way, the word angel comes from the ancient Greek word for messenger. So we are all a bunch of people who share a message, which means at some point, you may consider writing a book. Now, my suggestion, because people often ask me, they'll say, I want to write a book to launch my business. And I'll say, the better thing to do is create transformations and then write a book based on the data you have from the people you've helped. It's actually a lot more simple. But you can start thinking about this years in advance. So what I say to do is, and this is another amazing lead gen tool, to say, I'm writing a book, or I will be writing a book, or in the future, I'm going to be writing a book, or whatever language you want to use, that's all about helping the people I serve to create a very specific transformation that I want to create. And I'm looking to interview a few people as research for the book. I'm specifically looking for, and then you can use the original hand raiser kind of specificity. I'm looking for a 47-year-old man whose left arm is bigger than their right arm, blah, 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 blah. These are the people I want to help with this book. And this is how you can ask people in your network to connect you with other people. See, here's the thing you don't want to do because it probably feels awkward. You don't want to ask anyone in your network, hey, I want to help someone and I want them to be my client. Can you refer me? They're going to panic. Unless they know how awesome you are at what you do, the chance of that connection or referral might be low. But if you say, I'm writing this book and I'm doing some research and I'm looking for people like this, and I'm happy to share the data I get from all the interviews with them that might be even useful, it's a complete gift. Now you are arming someone with the opportunity to gift something to someone they know. When the energy comes as a gift, it is way easier to make that connection. That's another way of how I've built my personal network. Everything is always a gift without expectation to receive. And at the same time, when you do these things, you start and build relationships. And during the interview, again, you can take them through the dream conversation. If we're chatting a year from now or whatever it is, what has to happen, where do you feel stuck? That, and you can add as many questions as you want. And then while you're working with your actual members, you get amazing content for the book, and your map becomes the book. So there's this awesome feedback loop that happens as you're building your groups and building your program, that you keep iterating and tweaking and making things better. And eventually you have the opportunity for a book. And finally, the test drive strategy. Another great way to attract future dream clients and maybe even have people connect you to dream clients is to offer a test drive version of your group coaching. So another reason why people are hesitant is maybe they've never experienced a group coaching call before, or they haven't experienced you before in the capacity as a coach. So one thing I've been doing for years now is offering free group mastermind sessions to give people the opportunity to feel like what it's like in a small group environment led by me. I now call this thing a senior session. We actually did one yesterday. I think a couple of you were actually on it, right? I actually don't pitch, there's no selling on these things. It's very much all about the attendees. And then when I follow up, I'll say, by the way, if you'd like to work together, let me know. It's like the most passive, easy, simple thing. And if there's resonance, if the person has resonance with me and feels like they like me and they want to work together, we'll work together. And then we can continue the conversation or continue the journey together. But again, you make it all about them. And then when you follow up, you can invite them to work with you as a next step, right? So the way to follow up is to say, here's the replay of the thing we just did. I actually used to do this in person. This is back when we were way smaller of a company and most of our stuff was in Toronto. So I had to get a bunch of people together. I'd rent an office, like a boardroom, for 3 hours, and we'd have a free mastermind session. And it was my way of building relationships back then. The company officially launched in 2014. Our first event was January 26, 2014. In the last quarter of 2013, all I did was meet up with people and give my time. Actually, probably 4 or 5 months. And that's how I started building my connections and relationships. And by the way, this is a great way to do market research, because the way I lead these senior sessions, many of you have probably been on them. I ask the group a bunch of questions first. Like, I actually take them through the dream conversation. If we were chatting 12 months from now, what would be a dream come true? What is your kryptonite? And then I ask people to share in the chat. And then I read the chat later and I get the most amazing words and language to use in my emails and stuff that I do, because it's the language being used by all of you. It is infinitely easier for people in your network to connect you to potential dream clients if the offer comes as a gift instead of an ask. So if there's one super thing there's many things to leave with today, but just remember this thing: gift your time. Now, you may feel like I don't have a lot of time, and that's probably true. That's why this is so, it's crucial at the beginning, and it's the best investment you can ever make because you're building and deepening relationships. So your mission this week, if you have clients or emails or any kind of social media, I want you to write a draft of your hand raiser message and then share it in Campus. And then this weekend I will edit it, or create a gifted time strategy. And then let me know in the chat right now if you're planning on doing number 1 or number 2, or if you want to do both. So if you want to do a draft of a hand raiser message, type 1 in the chat. If you're going to create a gifted time strategy, type 2. If you want to do both, type 3 or both. Amazing. Okay, so from today's session, what has been most useful so far? Let me know in the chat. From today's session, what has been most useful so far? Cheyenne, can you share?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of what I just said, that the gift instead of the ask is you're just reframing the question. And I think even as you're saying it to me, it's just from my perspective, because you know what I do, I'm in real estate and I'm looking to get more clients for pre-construction. It just feels a lot better to say, I'm going to gift my time, as opposed to, hey, there's this great project, why don't you buy here?
Right.
Let me gift my time, let's get to know one another. And then this way we create a relationship.
Okay, so I will share with you how I did this in real estate, and it's applicable to everybody here because it's the same, everything I'm teaching right now. So I used to do what you're doing now, which is a very specific niche or niche in the Toronto market, which is selling what's called pre-construction condo investments. So the way it works in Toronto, if you want to build a condo, the developer typically has to pre-sell the majority of the units in advance before they get construction financing. That's kind of how it works. So they would rely on people like us, me and Cheyenne, to find clients who want to invest in these projects at sort of ground floor kind of pricing. The number one thing I always did that created the most conversions and sales was I would start building my email list of people who are interested in these projects. And then I'd say, hey, I'm doing this workshop on this day at this restaurant or wherever, a place with food. It's $100 a ticket. And I'm going to teach you how to invest in pre-construction condos. And it includes dinner, which always seemed to be a nice bonus for people. Free food. Because then I would say it's $100 per ticket, but because you just registered for more info on a specific project or something, I would always have an excuse. I'd say, I'm going to gift you 2 tickets. And it includes food. I'd always have 100 people. I would teach everything I taught as gifting my time. And then I would say, by the way, there's this project happening. If you're interested, we can chat after today's event. I never sold anything. I never did any kind of pressure stuff. And then always, and I would say, here, fill out this form if you're interested in investing in something. And then I follow up and actually have conversations. And then that process led to like $200 million worth of sales. And it was consistent over, and I just kept doing the same thing over again, giving my time, gifting my time, teaching, and then following up with people who are interested. So please copy me, Cheyenne.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's going to do exactly that.
It was always a gift. Sue Ellen.
I was just gonna leave, but yeah, I love yes, because I'm going to a birthday party, not because this is great. Not great. Yeah, I love that gifted time strategy versus that cold call, reach out. This is what I can, do for you in whatever institution, group, business, or whatever, where you end up trying to sell yourself, and it just doesn't feel good. So I like that.
Yeah, it's again, the reframe, the awkwardness of selling yourself in quotes is because you're making it about you. You just sell yourself. But
Yeah,
if for all of us, if you are supporting someone else through their transformation, having them commit to their bigger future, making it about their path, you're their guide. It's not even about you. You're just the
Yeah.
one who knows their path better than they do. And it's wait, speaking about path, Sue Ellen, I just want to share my screen for a second because this is freaking epic. So
Oh, well,
you
thank
shared,
you.
you posted this in campus. You're like, this is my map. And I thought, whoa, again, none of you have to have something this elaborate or designed. I just thought this was really cool. So I wanted to.
Yeah, I worked with someone on that, and I have been working on it for a while. So it's not like this just came to me in the last couple of weeks. You know, I want to say that, but this process is definitely helping me move it forward. I love any feedback or input
I will.
from anybody about, you know, what this seems to be, how this might help people, how it might be missing pieces, or
I think
if you have people who would love to go through the pilot program, I'm ready to get rolling on it. So thank you, anybody, for taking a closer look at it and putting some comments in the campus.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Stanley. Stanley still here? Stanley, can you unmute?
Okay, so what is the question that you're
Just to share your
asking?
feedback that you wrote in the chat here. What did you
Oh,
find useful?
the big takeaway was the lack of needing to market and the lead generation. Because I already gave my money away for lead generation last year.
Yeah, a lot
It
of
was
people
just
have.
like I might as well have burned it, because it wasn't what I understood it to be. And so that was just like a big weight taken off. But I do the give. That's my normal thing that I do. I don't try to sell my program. I just tell people, you know, if you're dealing with this, show up on Saturday. I'm doing a call with 10 or 12 people. And then I allow that. So now I'm just going to take it to that next level and send
Perfect.
each one of them that individual email, say, hey, I want to make you a success story. I want your success story to be part of my journey. So thank you. Yes.
You joined us yesterday for the senior session, which is like my test drive thing. So because you know me, like there were a lot of people there that it was the first time I spoke to them. So what was your take on the experience?
Take on yesterday's experience.
Yeah. Like, did you feel like I was selling anything?
You weren't selling anything. You were just total value adding. And, you know, the safety of that community and even this community here, and even when you've had 100 people on, the safety that's here, the availability to be vulnerable and share your, hey, I'm scared crapless,
Right.
and I don't know how to do any of this. And, you know, I say, and I share this with people, my Facebook is like a newborn baby. It's naked and there's not a lot there.
You're awesome.
So,
Thank you.
you know, it's the truth.
Yeah.
So I feel connected in this community.
Thank you. And to your point, and from now decades of experience, giving is the best strategy. It's not an instant ROI. Like, what is the ROI of relationships? But I think we all know that ROI is the best ROI. It's not very easy to measure or track. We're actually doing, I love planting seeds with all of you and sharing secrets. So we're doing a free event in April for the Gifted Show which is called Be Your Future Self Now, with Ben Hardy and Emily Fletcher and Dr. Nicole Pera, who's called the Holistic Psychologist. So that's going to be a great event. But then in May, which we haven't announced yet, we're doing a free event called the ROI of Relationships with someone who's been a mentor to me. His name is Joe Polish, who's the founder of a huge mastermind called Genius Network, and a good friend of mine, another guy named Steve Sims, who wrote the book Bluefishing, and his company Bluefish was like I don't know how to explain, like the Make-A-Wish Foundation for super rich people. So if you had a lot of money and you wanted something, his agency made it happen. Like one of his clients got married at the Vatican, which has never happened. Or another client took a submarine down to see the Titanic. Like, but they're all of the way he can do that is because of the power of relationships he's built. So we're gonna have a whole conversation called the ROI of relationships, which is gonna be fun. So thank you, Stanley. Sophie, you've done the hand raiser email 3 times.
Yeah, not sure what else to say. I mean, I've done it and it works. Just take the template, don't change as little as possible, and just do it.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
It's simple, but that is so important. The don't change things. And I'm the worst offender of this. Here's why. In the past, way like even decades ago, people would teach me something and then I would reinvent the wheel because I thought, no, I got to make it completely different and make it my own and make it whatever. And I need to be creative. And then it would never have the same results. So I've learned through my own trial and error. Sometimes when someone has a framework that works, follow the steps and have it work for you.
Yeah, I would say, you know, now that I've done it 3 times, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta do that thing, and I do it. But the first time you put that in your constant contact or whatever, and you've got this short little thing, and it's like, I don't know. But then, you know, just click send and it works.
It's isn't it fun? But there's always going to be anxiety the first time of everything we do, but especially when you're sending out a new kind of email, for example. There's even another email we've taught, which I'll explain in a future session, called the 9-word email, which is a Dean Jackson tool. Right? It's like literally the entire email is 9 words. And you're like, no, it can't be just 9 words. I have to have way more detail. And like Cheyenne, I'll tell you, the framework is hi, first name, are you still interested in, and then whatever they would be interested in. So the first time Dean Jackson taught this to me in 2012, back when I was doing the real estate stuff, I sent an email to my email list saying, hi, first name, are you still interested in a pre-construction condo investment? Cheers, Giovanni. I had 200 and something yeses. I was like, what the hell? Now what the hell do I do? It took me forever to follow up. So that's another gift for all of you. All right, so we'll end today's session here. Please share your hand raisers, your love letters, and or your gifted time strategies in campus, and I will follow up. Cheyenne, you get 30 seconds. I can't hear you.
It's not really, sorry about that. Would you send that email first and then send the other one regarding the gifted time?
It depends. In the context of what we're creating here, if you're going to create a group thing, I would send the hand raiser first. The are you still interested in is for people who you want to re-engage with in the future kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all for today. I'll be chatting with you over the weekend, and then I'll see you next week. Have a great day.